Visual and creative. So the complete guide to creating compelling visual assets for your event marketing campaigns, covering everything from branding to social media assets. So in this lesson, we are going to break down all of the visual materials you would typically need to launch and promote an event from start to finish. And although the techniques and case studies in this chapter revolve around marketing for electronic music events, the advice will prove useful to anyone involved in event marketing, regardless of whether you have zero experience or you employ a talented team of creatives. So we'll cover every type of social media asset you would need to prepare, as well as other materials such as mailer templates, landing pages, and we'll also walk you through how to use the best free and affordable tools involved in our creative processes. So let's start with branding. And your creative direction. First off, you need to understand your audience. So this takes us right to the origins of your brand's identity. It's something you need to consider when creating any asset, and performing any marketing for that matter. Your target audience is the group of people you want or think are most likely to attend your event. Remember that every time you do any kind of marketing, you have a goal. Often the goal is to sell more tickets, but there are more specific goals for each asset you create. These goals are also called conversions, actions you want the target audience to take when they see one of your assets or experience one of your marketing efforts. You want to create 2 to 3 target audience profiles using the templates, which I'll provide as a download link. And doing this will help consider each profile as a single individual person who is or would be regular at your event, instead of considering the profiles as a group or demographic of many people. So competitor analysis, it's always worth looking at what your competitors in your genre or scene are doing. They can show you how best to do things and sometimes how not to do things. It's up to you to judge, but studying the competitors' branding and marketing techniques is essential, even if you're an experienced marketer. A good example would be to look at what style of content or ads they're posting, what fonts and styles of logos, the tone in their captions and copy. You could create a competitor analysis table where you select the top 3 to 5 brands that you think have the same target audience as you, and then all their branding, visual and creative characteristics. And let's talk about brand concept as well. So your brand needs a clear concept and name that communicates its story, values, purpose, vibe. Make sure the pillars of your brand are well defined in your head and in the document before progressing to the next stage. If you still need to decide on a name for your brand or event, then you can use brand pillars to search for names. And you could also use the following tools such as WordHippo, ChatGPT, or Perplexity. An example prompt for ChatGPT might be come up with 100 names for a music event brand which delivers immersive techno events at nightclubs in London for ages 30 to 50. Your events are unique because they create a healthy experience for adults to party in where alcohol isn't served. Let's talk about logos. So the design process. Now that you have your branding directions in mind, you want to start designing rough logo ideas. You can sketch these using pen and paper and take a picture of them and upload them to a design software, or you can just use digital illustration tools to draw and arrange shapes for logos. Some of these tools, such as Illustrator, Figma, or Canva. You can also experiment with generative AI tools to create more specific branding materials like logos. So you could always try Midjourney or Adobe Firefly. Things to consider when designing a logo. So keep in mind where and how it will be used. Some typical examples would be an Instagram profile picture, a WhatsApp group image, on your event flyer, on your website. It can help to make your logo 3D or bring it to life with animation. So these variations will come across as more professional when you're using a moving asset instead of a still. Some tools that we use to animate logos include Jitter, Vectory, Morphlax, Modify, and Rive. Other design materials, as we progress through this chapter, you'll need to create other visual assets that maintain your branding. It can be useful to create a visual language of design materials while you're creating your branding. As a very basic example, you could use some kind of repeated pattern like a checkerboard in all of your assets. And aside from branding inspiration websites we feature, there's some other good ones that you can use to gather and create design materials such as Storytale, Indieground, Items, and DrawKit. Event flyers. So these are pretty important. So first off, creative direction. You're not limited to the tools or techniques described in this lesson. We're just using specific examples to demonstrate our typical approach, which has been fine-tuned over many events to find a process that delivers effective and original results with the least amount of work. In general, this process involves a background, either an image or some form of artwork illustration with simple text graphics layered over the top to add to your branding. You want to clearly present your event information and effectively communicate any call to actions, also known as CTAs. So general inspiration. It's always easy to kind of find designers who specialize in artwork for your style of event, as opposed to just general branding designers. Aside from looking at your competitors' artwork on social media, you can search, terms such as your genre plus poster on inspirational websites that we will list in the download. So creating your artwork. Sometimes you don't need to design artwork for an event. You can just use press shots or the image of the artist or venue as the background with text layered in the top. But sometimes you might want to design original graphics or illustrations. And to do this, you can use tools such as Adobe Firefly or Midjourney. So once you have created your artwork and you've decided on the image that you'll use as the background, you'll now want to overlay text and graphics to finish the flyer design. There's a variety of tools that you can do for this, such as Figma or Canva. They both have similar features and levels of complexity. Figma is a bit more advanced and versatile, so it's worth familiarizing yourself with the tool, whereas Canva is designed specifically for basic social media content creation, but it's a great option for anyone with little experience. So when you're designing a flyer, consider the hierarchy of information you need to include so that the most important information is the most attention grabbing. For example, the order of importance, you want your event title, headliner names, date and time, venue details, support acts, call to action, partner logos, and ticket warnings. Many of the required dimensions would be an Instagram feed, Instagram Square, Instagram Story, and Facebook event. And you'll also have different variations of the artwork. So you'll have your main artwork, you might have a variation for pre-sale sign up, or different ticket warnings, or a specific artist focused. Next up, we can talk about landing pages. So even if you'd like to design and build your own landing page, we'll use our example platform Eventry as a design guide, since it's designed specifically for music events. For each landing page, you want to focus on the mobile first design, so using landscape artwork at the top. Make sure that all the buttons and inputs are above the fold, and make sure that there's minimal scrolling required. And to ensure the conversion elements, you want a clear visual hierarchy, you want prominent sign-up forms, you only want to include the essential information, and you want strong call to actions. The essential page elements, from top to bottom. For a landing page, you want the artwork, logos, page titles, sign-up form, location and dates, event description, lineup section, media embeds, and social buttons. Also, you want to make sure that you have the relevant metadata for SEO, and that there's additional user experience elements such as add to calendar links, map directions, and ticket alerts. So I'll just jump in and show you a few examples of our favorite landing pages using Eventry. So here's one for Obscure in London. As you can see, you have your artwork, your title. This one is on sale, so it's got a link for the button, and you have a description, a nice image carousel, and some YouTube embeds and some call to action buttons. And it's the same sort of process for Had a Dream, a James Hype Sync event, and a Duke Dumont teaser. So here, all these landing pages follow the same sort of structure, and these are high-performing landing pages used by some of the biggest promoters in the country. Next up, we can talk about mailer templates, so professional email design and content strategy. So to kick things off, when designing your mailer template for your event, we just like to create an adapted version of the artwork which blends nicely into a background color of choice. In the examples, we normally opt for a black background and add a radial gradient over the top of the artwork layer. Creates a vignette effect which elegantly fades into the rest of the mailer. You can then import this version of the flyer as a header within your mailer template, making sure that there's zero padding around. Styling, for most mailers, you need to make sure you have set the background color for all areas of the mailer to your desired color, and try and keep the color consistent across the background, header, body, and footer. Content. Most mailers we have have a short, exciting summary of the event, as well as a focus on a particular venue or unique selling point. For example, sometimes we focus on one artist or the full lineup, other times we focus a mailer around the venue or even the sound system or lighting production. Try to focus on elements and information which will appeal to and excite your audience. I'll just jump into a few of our recent mailer templates. So these are for similar brands, or you can see you have the artwork which fades into a background. They're very consistent. You have a call to action, you have a header, a call to action, a description, and a styled image. We also have call to action buttons at the bottom with the promoter's logo. Social media and ad assets, so content strategy, gathering, and optimization. The first step in the process of creating visual assets for social media or ads involves gathering the raw videos and images. High quality images and videos are essential to create engaging assets. And below is a list of the types of raw content and the best places to find them. So if you're looking for artist performance content, then look at Instagram feeds or tagged posts or direct requests from their agent. If you need press shots, then look in the artist press packs or Facebook profiles. If you want to rip some live stream content, then look at YouTube videos or Facebook posts. And if you need the tool to download some of this content, then you can use the Snap Insta video downloader. So organic versus paid creative, any content that you intend to post on your social media channels can be considered organic content. Instagram feeds, reels and story posts, TikTok posts, etc. Paid content is the content you intend to use as the creative when you run ads. So there's a subtle difference between the two situations. With organic content, the viewer is most likely already following you, and the content is most likely appearing in their feed where there is more context to your post, such as the caption. With this in mind, organic content performs best when it doesn't have any overlays such as text or graphics. On the flip side, ad creative needs to have more context in order to get the viewer to click the button and convert. With this content, it's worth adding text overlays to explain what the content is about and what action they should take. Organic content, a list of all the types of content you could post organically in order of performance. So you want to post artist UGC clips, artist live stream clips, past event clips, venue shots, artist shots, and event after movies. Captions should always remain short and easy to digest at a glance. Make it clear what the post is referring to, like a specific event and a certain unique selling point. Try to tag or @tag any relevant people, brands or artists who feature in the post, as if they engage with the post, it will help boost its visibility. Always remember to include a call to action in every caption. For example, gently but clearly encourage followers to sign up to your event by clicking the link in your bio. Now, ad creative. The best types of ad creatives that you can use: artist clips and videos with overlays, venue shots with overlays, artist shots with top track overlays, promo videos, and carousel slideshows. In the downloads link with this lesson, we've gathered a folder of example overlay and animated assets for you. Overlays and animations, you can easily add overlays and animations using the tools previously mentioned in this lesson. For still overlay and template design, you can use Figma or Canva. For animating text and graphics, you could use Jitter or Adobe Premiere Pro or After Effects. And for animating artwork, you could use the AI Dream Machine. There is temptation to add lots of animation with thinking they will grab people's attention. This is somewhat true, but at the same time, the more you add, the less sophisticated and professional your assets might look. So it's always good to follow the rule of less is more. I'll just show you into one of our Figma projects, which has a list of creatives for many different events. So at the top, you can see the artwork, and then you can see overlays with different call to action. So this one is final 53rd release, final 200 tickets. Here's a mailer template. Again, we have artwork at the top, and then we create the overlays, and this is what it would look like with static images as well. And again, it's the same for all the campaigns we create. We take elements of the artwork and create overlays. All the blank ones will be overlaid onto videos, and if you've got an asset behind them, then they'll be static. Finding and hiring creatives. So if you're someone who doesn't want to or need to create assets themselves and you prefer to hire creatives to help you, there's a few ways to do this, which we have briefly mentioned. So you're likely organizing events in a specific niche that requires a certain understanding of what your audience is used to and responds well to. For example, content for a corporate event like a conference will look totally different for content for a techno rave. This is why the best route to take is to research similar organizations and find the creative freelancers involved in the content creation for their events. Sometimes they are credited in the posts, but sometimes you'll need to ask who was responsible for creating the content, either in the comments or via DMs. So you might be wondering how much these services should cost you. We typically operate within the world of electronic music, which is a niche with very tight margins, so the costs we see are probably on the lower end of the spectrum. Some example cost guidelines are below. So still artwork, £100 to £300, animated artwork, £200 to £500, clip overlays, £50 to £100, promo videos, £100 to £300, and after movies, £200 to £500. So if your niche is more broad, you might be able to find freelance creatives on platforms like Fiverr or Upwork who specialize in design and video within your niche. Although this can be the most affordable route to take, we have found that unless you get a few things right, the content you'll receive from them can be disappointing and sometimes unusable. Always check if the creative has examples of exactly the kind of asset you want them to create. Create a highly detailed brief of what you want them to create and ask the creative to check in with you regularly during the process. So here's an example creative brief template. So you want the project specifications, the length, the dimensions, the audio starts. You want to provide assets such as a backing track, footage, image, brand assets. And you want to give them a copy and graphics overlay structure, slide by slide. So exactly what you want on each slide or each timestamp. Also give them plenty of reference and inspiration. So style examples, brands, references, and inspiration. Make sure they create one size first and get that approved before creating all the additional specs. Well, that's it for this episode, this lesson on visual and creative. Some key takeaways, audience first approach, always create your 2 to 3 audience profiles. Make sure you have a consistent brand identity. Use the latest AI tools to enhance your creativity and always prioritize mobile first. I'll see you in the next video.